Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Tanks, and it's been a while, I'm sorry, like, real life things are hard. I never claimed to be a good YouTuber, I didn't even really claim to be a good streamer, but there we go. Anyway, besides the point, welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we are doing a tank review on one of the newest kids on the block, on the Cobra, the tier 9 British medium tank that is available within the Battle Pass like section for 24 Battle Pass tokens. So obviously this thing is very expensive. It is very expensive. If it follows the tradition of other Battle Pass tanks, it will be expensive for the first year it's out, and then it will probably come down in price. However, I don't know if at some point they're basically going to go, right, we need to kind of purge the shop of tanks and only offer out newer ones. So I don't know if waiting is going to be advisable, but yeah, I would probably recommend getting this tank when you can, because basically it's absolutely funny as fuck. Thank you for dying in time for me saying that, T10. That was almost like it was planned, but it really wasn't, because I'm not that good at planning. Yeah, it is one of the biggest meme tanks in the game, and it's also relatively good as well. And I usually wait for the end of the video to say this, because, you know, YouTube retention and all that. Must be a better YouTuber, Max, but holy hell, this thing is so worth it. It's so funny. You just basically ruin people's day, and I don't really know what Wargaming were thinking. It's as if a Caliban and a G-Sword tank destroyer had a baby, and then the baby grew up in a gym on steroids, because it's nuts. Basically, I'm only going to really talk about the Hesh rounds here. It does have heat, as I believe they're the standard rounds, and it does have standard HE. We want to talk about the premium hash rounds, and quite honestly, if you want to talk about anything else, go find someone else. No, I will talk about the heat rounds. 268 pen, 360 damage, 793 meters per second shell velocity, and that's all I want to talk about. The HE rounds, however, the hash rounds, they deal 400, not 2190 damage per shot, which is very, very nice, like, as you saw to the T10. The E100 is, that kind of is the downside to this tank. You want to load the heat round, the Hesh round, sorry. However, if you go up against something such as a mouse or an E100 and you can't get side turret, rear of the tank, excuse me, anything like that, you are going to struggle. But 210 pen is not bad, especially when you're against tier 8s. As this game is, I should point out, tier 10, tier 9, tier 8 on Abbey. And, yeah, basically. Speaking of what this thing can do to tier 8s, look, there is a full HP Tiger 2. One of the tanks at tier 8 with the most hit points. Used to have the most hit points. Yeah. What this thing does is ridiculous. It is a 4-shell autoloader. 210 pen, 490 average damage on the Hesh rounds. And if that wasn't enough, Wargaming went, you know what? Let's give it 1.5 second inch clip. Joint best in the game with a TVP, because I'm sure that won't be overpowered at all. Fuck a 3-second inch clip. Nah, 1.5, that's what we want. I don't know if they were maybe going for like 15 and accidentally added a decimal point, or 5 and accidentally added a 1. I really don't know. But it's just kind of nutty. Obviously, this thing is compensated by the fact that, as you can see here, the accuracy is pretty terrible. The aim time is pretty terrible. Like, accuracy's bad, but not awful. 0.38, which is, that is a technical term, by the way. See my written work for more details. But it's bad, but it's not horrific. You know, it's not 0.45 or 0.6 or whatever. So That's not too bad. The aim time, however, is fairly horrific at 3.8 seconds, which means basically you need to play this thing up close and personal with your enemies, because if not, you're not going to hit all of your shells. Like, you need, like what I did there, side of the Tiger 2, absolutely slap him from like 100 meters or less on pretty much a tank that you can pen all areas. So I've decided I've had enough of that side. Something you do probably want to take on this tank as well is a turbo, because it is not actually the fastest tank. It has 40 kilometers an hour top speed, which is rather on the low side. Power to weight is alright at 18.4, but in this day and age for water tanks, that's not amazing. And there appears to be a standard B. Oh no! What's a standard B? Oh no! I have one left. Whoops. Yeah. It's not OP, guys. It's not OP. As well as that, like, another kind of balancing factor about the tank is the fact that it does have a 50-second reload. I'm sure you're noticing that, like, between clips. It kind of sucks. Like, a 50-second reload, it really sucks. Like, the amount of times I've gone in, completely eliminated one tank, and then just died. But not even straight away. I've died, like, after 20 seconds. Like, 2 guys will push, and I'm still, like, 20 seconds off reloading, because obviously with equipment and stuff you do get that reload time down a little bit. But it's, yeah, I would say it's a relatively hard tank to play well. I don't know, like, firing the heat rounds, I don't know what the average player could do. Nice little pen there on the T95. And this is where, like, at the end of the game with heat, like, the heat, like I said, has 268 pens, so it's pretty good. Like, that's tier 10 standard medium tank pens. So that's alright. The heat is definitely alright. But 360 alpha times 4, it's still pretty good. 50-second reload, that's where you start to fall down a bit. Let's say as something over like the Batchat AP or the Skoda T50 or something like that. But you can still do bits with it. It's just, in that regard, I think, like, you couldn't snipe in this tank. The aim time is just horrific. Like, you're aiming for, like, 5 seconds between shells. So in that case, you may as well just play literally anything else, like a, what's it called? Leopard prototype or E50 or something like that. Can we finish off the T95? Go for the compilers? No. Go for the lower plate. Go for the compilers. Hey, compiler shot it is. But yeah, it's armor is pretty crap. The side armor, like other Cobras, are going to try and get your side armor because you only have 30mm of armor. 1600 HP is not too bad. You kind of more play this thing like a lightly armored heavy, I would say, than a medium tank, just because of the mobility. But if you do play it, excuse me, guys, can't stop yawning. If you do play it like a medium tank, then obviously you go up against other medium tanks, less armor, you can probably pen more stuff. But yeah, that is a game in the Cobra. We'll go take a look at the post-game stats, just see how we did, and then we'll jump into Tanks GG. I've run through most of the stats, but we'll just have a look at the armor, and we'll jump in game, and I'll show you the setup and like the field mods I recommend on this tank. So, jumping into Tanks GG. This isn't Tanks GG. This is what replays quickly. That was an ace tanker, guys. Really, really nice. High caliber as well. 6,000 damage. I believe we hit 1 blind on the Centurion Action 10. If I remember to do my funky new editing thing, you will currently be watching me hit that shot. I like doing that so you guys know kind of where the blind fires came in. I might forget and I might not do it, in which case I now just look very stupid. 5 kills as well, which is very, very nice, and I think that's what contributed towards the ace. 6,044 damage, 5 kills, 1,464 base XP. We pretty much run out of shells that game. I think we only had like 1 left. And like quite a lot of that was obviously contributed by the fact that the We fired 4 at the U100, and I think combined did about 150 damage, which obviously really isn't good. And if I had intuition, which I don't on this tank, I'd highly recommend. I would have loaded heat there, and we'd have probably done, 1,500 to him or whatever. 360 times 4 is that I really can't do right now. 1440? Quick maths? Chat? Help? There's no chat, but comments? Help? Yeah, so that was a really, really nice game. 25 shots fired, 25 shots hit. We hit every single shell that we fired. The dispersions actually feel half decent on this tank, which is kind of weird. It's just when you actually want to aim in actually for a shot, you could probably hit the tank fairly clutch, but you're not going to hit a specific part of the tank, which is, like I say, why you want to get relatively close and then get sides of enemy vehicles so you can just auto-aim and click straight through their tanks, which is really nice. This tank doesn't make bonus credits, so, you know, not amazing. And we only blocked 240 with our armor, which I don't even know what that was. I can't remember actually blocking any damage. Game lasted 8 minutes. That was at 1 o'clock in the morning as well, that game. So, game lasted 8 minutes. You need games to last a long time in this tank. Like, you really can't have a game that lasts like 2-3 minutes, because honestly you're just not gonna, like, those games at the minute that last 3 or 4 minutes, you're not gonna be able to do anything. Your reload is 50 seconds, so you get the first clip off because you get into position, but then you're reloading again for another 50 seconds. You're, you know, 2 minutes in by the time you've unloaded and positioned and whatever. Then say you reload again. If the game's 3 minutes, like, you're then chasing damage. Like, you've got to be on it. You've got to position yourself well. You've got to position yourself far enough up that you can do damage, but not so far up that you're gonna get overrun. Because, like I say, the armor is not amazing and the hit points are not amazing. So yeah, just quickly run through these. 210 pen, as I said, 490 damage, 4 shell autoloader, 50-second clip, and 4.5 second unload time, 1960 average clip damage, which is insane in 4.5 seconds. I think that is now the highest clip, like a highest burst damage in the game. You could argue Foch B, but obviously that takes a lot longer to unload. So that's mental if you can pen all of your shells. Shell velocity is actually pretty good on the Hesh, 1,100 meters per second. Your potential damage is relatively low, especially when you consider that a lot of that is going to be Hesh. So some of it is going to do like to that A100, 30 damage or whatever. So that really does limit the amount of damage you can do. 3.8 seconds aim time, 0.38 dispersion. Dispersions are, but they're alright, to be honest. Turret traverse as well is especially good. 10 degrees of gun depression is nice. 13 degrees of elevation is a little bit limiting and can limit you in certain situations. 40 forwards, 25 backwards. Reverse speed is really good, and traverse speeds are really good. But the engine power and forwards top speed aren't that amazing. Armor I'll come on to in a second. 1600 HP. 370 meters view range is a little on the low side as well, which is kind of upsetting. And if we just have a quick look at the 3D model of the tank, you're pretty much getting penned anywhere. The upper part of the turret, if you are using your gun depression, is actually not too shabby. However, like, they can then pen the lower part of your turret. You'd literally have to have, like, be hull down perfectly so you're not exposing the bottom part of your turret and only the top. And even then, if somebody's loading heat at tier 10 especially, they're going to go right through. The kind of, I'm going to say turret supports, they're absolutely not, but the side parts of the oscillating turret are just weak as anything as well. So do not rely on your armor. If you show the side to anybody, you're going to get overmatched. This thing, if we go side, and if I load, I haven't got any kind of AP, but basically this thing, the side will get penned. You also have this really inconvenient like kind of engine deck bit at the back. If I go on the visual model, it's really inconvenient bit here. So let's say you're like this and someone's firing HE. Let's say you're fighting another Cobra with the Cobra and you don't really want to shoot the tracks because you're not 100% sure where it's going to get absorbed. If you shoot this bit here, it is literally 30 mil thick, and basically flat, like the bit behind the turret and a hitbox, so that's somewhere to go through. This is definitely going to be the kind of tank that Caliban's, other Cobras, stuff like that love. If you can get the side of it, that is just completely it. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling about that. Let's go jump into the game. I will show you my recommended equipment and what field mods I recommend as well. So, just nice and quickly, guys, let's jump over the equipment. Crew skills-wise, it is a reward tank, so you can put your Centurion Action 10 crew in. Annoyingly, it's only a 3-person crew, which means the loader is the gunner, which means things like... This is why I haven't got Intuition, because things like Intuition aren't going to work. So I might retrain it at some point, but it's kind of annoying, to be perfectly honest. But fairly standard medium tank crew is not an issue. Equipment-wise, I've gone with vert stabs, aiming, and turbo. Other recommendations, I don't recommend a rotation mechanism. This thing rotates like the turret traverse 49 and the tank traverse of, well, in my setup, 68, which is nuts. So you do not need improved rotation. Vert stabs all the way. You could, if you wanted to, maybe drop aiming for vents, but I wouldn't recommend that so much. Maybe even drop vert stabs for gun lane drive or aiming for gun lane drive. However, I definitely think that aiming is a good thing, because obviously 5% to the aim circle size also means 5% throughout the whole aiming cycle, which is also very nice. And it brings my accuracy down to 0.32 after putting in T, brothers in arms, etc. So that's actually a nice accuracy at that point. You can actually do good with that. Like, that's the ability to shoot the components of a T95 when fully aimed. Obviously, your aim time is still a little on the long side, and gun lane drive might but not be the worst thing, but I think this setup is pretty good as is. Yeah, other options are probably vents or gun lane drive. They are the only two I'd recommend. And if you do want to fully pimp this tank, obviously, then bounty or bond. I reckon this thing could benefit from it, but at the minute I've got so many other tanks that I'm putting that stuff on. I don't really want to sacrifice it for this thing just yet, until Steve makes me, probably at some point. Anyway, on to field mods. I haven't actually got any field mods yet. I'm just about to unlock my first one. However, I would recommend, on the first one, I would recommend probably potentially even neither on the first one. Because, quite honestly, the traverse speed is good enough. Usually, I would always say traverse speed, but the traverse speed is good enough as it is. So, I probably won't go with one on the first one, actually. Right. On the second one, aim circle size, 100%. Third one, reverse speed. You don't need concealment. You shouldn't be playing this tank at range, so you shouldn't need concealment. And it also takes your reverse speed up to 30. That's something I didn't mention. The reverse speed is pretty mad. And then on the field mod 7, which is usually a really nice field mod, I would definitely recommend the aiming gears one. Better aim speed, and also your aim circle doesn't bloom out as much after you fire, which is obviously massive on this tank. Yes, it increases your reload by 5%, so you're back up to like 47, increases 2 seconds. But at the end of the day, you're out the fight for so long anyway. You shouldn't be in a position where you're relying on your reload to get yourself out of trouble. So absolutely, don't worry. Any tanks like this where the reload is so long, things like the G-Saw, things like stuff like that, the majority of the time, like the FE 4005, I even say, the majority of the time you're out the game for so long on your reload, you may as well put more focus into the time you are reloaded. So on the 4005, make that accuracy, aim time, whatever, and on this thing, like the ability to get your clip off, rather than the actual reload itself, because the actual reload itself, 2 seconds, you should be round the corner and out the fight by that point. So if you're not, 2 seconds isn't really going to make the difference, I won't lie. But anyway, those are your field mods. Those are your equipment slots. I hope you have enjoyed the video, guys. I hope you found it informative in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, to sum up, yes, I recommend this tank. It is a great, fun tank. Unique. Probably at the minute a little bit broken, maybe. So I would definitely recommend picking it up. I'll just jump in. I'll show you where to get it. You need to go items for tokens, and it will be available for 24 tokens. I will leave a link to my video deciding between these other 5 Battle Pass reward tanks. I haven't got the Lorraine yet. That will come up in probably 3 months' time or so, once I can get the 18 tokens. I've only got 1 at the minute, obviously, after getting the Cobra. But I will get that at some point, and then I'll do an updated video with all 7 tanks, and probably have to do another one next year when they release more, and another one the year after when they release more. But anyway, that's all she wrote. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, notifications, all that good shit. I am going to try and improve my YouTube side of content, but unfortunately at the minute, guys, it's just full-time job, streaming, and YouTube, and other important stuff in my life. I can't do all of it. Like, I'm really struggling in terms of time, especially the busiest time of year for work. So yeah, unfortunately, YouTube is the thing taking the hit. But don't go anywhere. I'm not abandoning the channel. It will just be, the videos will be quite sporadic, not that frequent and all that. But if you do want to see more Max content, best place to go is head over to my stream. Link will be in the description. And on that, thank you all so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.